Welcome back to Bombastic Nation and ting. Back with another vibe for you, know what I mean? And since I found that Irish mythology stuff, other things keep popping up. So I saw this here and it's called Slavic mythology, you know what I mean? And I never really watched anything about Slavic mythology, so I thought this could be interesting. And this one is called History of Russia. Lesson 2, Slavic mythology, gods and creatures. Let's go ahead and YouTube and sim and see what the Slavic mythology is all about.
Hello and welcome to lesson number 2 of my History of Russia course. Today we speak about the Slavic mythology. Slavic paganism or Slavic religion defined the religious beliefs and ritual practices of the Slavs before the formal Christianization in 988. Unfortunately, there is not much information left about this part of the Slavic culture, and there is still room for controversy among the scholars in this area. In today's lesson, I will cover the Slavic religion the way Russian children study it at school. There were dozens of deities. Let's mention some of the most important ones. The supreme god was called Rut. This was the god of the universe and of all other gods, the creator of all things in the world, and the ruler of all the deities. Another important god was Svarog. The name literally means heaven. He was associated with military, smithery, and sometimes with fire. Огнебог. Literally, this name means God of Fire. One of the most well-known Slavic gods was Perun. Perun means thunder, and he was the son of Svarog, worshipped as the god of war. He is related to Thor and other Indo-European thunder gods. Perun was first associated with weapons made of stone and later with those of metal. Dashbog is the sun god, winner of darkness. He changes from a young man to an old man as he travels through the sky. Dashbog has two beautiful daughters accompanying him, the two so-called Zvezda, morning star and evening star. Mokosh or Makosh was the mother goddess personifying the wet earth, associated with female labor.
See, they had gods and goddesses, all of these religions. That's kind of interesting to think, of that, because now the religions that are dominant now, there's no goddesses, there's no real female deities. The Catholic church have Mary and a few females in there, but by far and large, most religions, the women are subservient. I mean, you look at Islam or even Christianity to a certain extent, but it seems like back in the day, women were goddesses and stuff like that. Does that mean there was more equality then, or what is the vibe? Because if they've been represented by goddesses, then there must be some kind of a equality there, because it's a spiritual thing that they're dealing with. So you would think that they would follow that, and women would more likely be respected, you know. Because at least they would have something to look up to, somebody to look up to, some spiritual being to look up to. Whereas now it's just God, the man. You know what I'm saying? That's an interesting thought there.
And harvest. Her name literally means wetness, moist, and she is also known by the title Mать Сыра Земля, damp Mother Earth. Veles was a master of the forest and of wild animals, and surprisingly, the god of commerce. He was also the god of poetic inspiration and sight, as highlighted by his name, which comes from the Indo-European root vil, which implies sight and magical abilities. The famous Book of Veles is dedicated to him. The Slavs developed numerous cults around natural objects, such as springs, trees, or stones, out of respect for the spirit within. Here are some of the deities of waters, woods, and fields. Bereginya is a tutelary deity of waters and river banks. In modern Ukrainian native faith, she has been heightened to the status of a national goddess, protectress of the earth. Vodinoi was a tutelary deity of water.
Yeah, I've noticed too that a lot of them had the women as the protector of earth and everything that's natural. There's a lot of them that's got that, and the women, we have Mother Nature. So maybe that was passed down, because of those goddesses that were protecting the earth and trees and stuff like that. Now it's, how should I put it? Transformed into Mother Nature. And unfortunately, there's nothing spiritual about it anymore. People just see Mother Nature. They want to go conquer nature, and do all of that instead of just respecting it and using it responsibly.
Waters. He was represented as an old man with a high cap of reeds on his head and a belt of rushes around his waist. To ingratiate themselves with him, Slavic fishermen sacrificed butter in water, while millers sacrificed sows. Rusalka, Mavka, Boginka, they had many names, and they were tutelary deities of waters. These little goddesses were conceived as the spirits of dead children or young women. They were usually represented as half-naked beautiful girls with long hair. They lived in waters and woods, and they giggled, sang, played music, and clapped their hands. They were so beautiful that they bewitched young men and could bring them to death by throwing them into deep water.
See, all of a sudden, sex.
Leshi. Leshi was the tutelary deity of forest. He was represented as an old man with long hair and beard, with flashing green eyes. To secure his protection, people who lived near woods sacrificed cows and salted bread to him. Leshi could manifest in the form of animals, such as bears, wolves, and hares. How did Slavs worship their deities? The Slavs were serving their gods in wooden temples or in holy places with no buildings, where the deity was believed to manifest in nature itself. Slavic gods were often depicted in large wooden idols. Unfortunately, archaeological data about the idols is very limited. Most of the pagan sanctuaries were destroyed during the forceful Christianization of the Slavs. On the screen, you can see the famous Zbruch idol. It is a 9th century sculpture and one of the few monuments of pre-Christian Slavic beliefs. This idol is located in the Archaeological Museum of Krakow in Poland. And this is it for today's lesson. Please let me know in the comments if you found any.
That was cool. As that last part was going, I thought, a lot of the mythologies have deities for the forest and stuff like that. So it's quite possible, because we couldn't understand it, we created those things so that we could tell stories to make it seem more understandable. But as we progress and we got to understand Mother Nature, it didn't seem so mystical, just making it less spiritual, and we just saw it as something that we could use for our own benefit. Just a thought, man. Just a thought. Anyway, thanks for watching this with me all year. It's always nice to have you here, you know what I mean? Drop me a comment in the section. Tell me something you think I should react to. Just tell me what's going on. In the meantime, don't stop watching right there, man. Just click on there. Go watch the next video. And of course, there's quite a few others in that section that you can watch. If that's your thing, watch it up and take, cool runnings.